Hey guys, if you improve your endgame, you will improve your chess. In this video we show you the 3 best chess endgame books, the reason why they are so good, and what you can get from each of them. We need to say that there are many amazing chess endgame books out there, but the 3 books I mentioned here are really great books, and they have been selected according to my own experience. Let's go with the list. Foreskis Endgame Manual. Some of the examples in this book are really tough but also very instructive. They have been classified according to material relations, and you will learn and practice endgame principles and rules with this book. Also, we need to say that Boresky is one of the best chess writers ever, so the quality of this book is guaranteed. I selected one example so you can see what you can find in this book. In this position it is white to move, white is winning, there is a passed pawn here, and Boresky wants to put emphasis on ideas on how a passed pawn could actually beat a bishop if we can block the bishop. So let's see, white is winning. I will say it right now, you can pause the video if you want. The first move is bishop a7, trying to deflect the bishop, so we could be promoting, since if we play a7 directly, black is playing e4 and the pawn is going to be controlled. So the first move is bishop a7, deflecting the bishop, and black needs to play here bishop a1 is the only move. I mean, bishop c3 is also an option, but it's the same position we will have in one move. So bishop a1, white plays king b1 here, and then the only move is bishop c3, and then this is the position I meant. We play king c2 here. Only move for black is bishop a1 now, and here there is a pretty special move, a beautiful move, just almost winning, and it is this bishop d4. This move seems to be a little surprising. How do you give the minor piece like that, and it doesn't really change that much in the position? So what's the idea behind this move? Well, if the pawn takes, we can just play here king d3, and then we are blocking the pawn forever. That means that the bishop is blocked for a long time and we are promoting. There's nothing black can do to stop that promotion. If the bishop takes, then we can just play king d3 here. Then the move to clear the line e4 is not going to work because the bishop is hanging. So maybe they can try to move the bishop back, and then they could be threatening this. But we can play king e4 and then the pawn is promoting anyway. The pawn is blocked. That means that the bishop is also blocked, and that means that the pawn is promoting over there. The next book is Domination in 2545 Endgame Studies by Kasparian, and this is a collection of chess studies, and here you can train visualization and calculation with all those studies and puzzles, and you can improve your tactic and domination endgame skills. Just to show you what you can get from this book, there is this position where it is white to move and white is winning. You can pause the video if you want, I will explain it right now. In this endgame we have a pawn up, but it doesn't look like we have real chances to win. However, there is a sequence of moves where we can actually capture one of the black minor pieces, and then it's going to be winning for us. So the first move here is knight c5, and the idea is that the king is in check and we are also playing d7. So black needs to play here king c6, and then we will play d7. Of course, black can capture the pawn on d7, but this is what we want. Here there is this surprising move, knight d3, and the problem is that the bishop is going to be dominated. Now we already know that the bishop cannot go here or here because of the knight, but what happens if the bishop goes to some other square? Well, remember we have an in-between check here, forcing the king to go to d6. That will be the only move because the king needs to stay guarding the bishop on d7. So if the bishop goes here, here or here, we will play knight check and knight check, and then this is going to be getting that bishop with a fork. And if the bishop goes here or here, then we will play knight check and knight check, and then we will be again forking and getting that bishop. It gets really interesting in this line. Let me show you. After bishop g5 we can play knight check. The only move if black doesn't want to lose his bishop is king d6, and then we can give another check here. Black can try here king e6, so when we capture this bishop they can play king f6, and they are threatening the two pieces at the same time. So this is when it gets really interesting. Here we can save the piece by playing knight a7, and when black takes our bishop, then we have a fork here, getting the bishop back on d7. Observe that the move knight f7, wanting to play knight e5 after the king takes the bishop and getting the bishop on d7, is not going to work, since black can just play something in between. They don't have to capture immediately. They can play here bishop e8, and then white is in trouble. There are many threats over there, and then we're losing one piece. And finally, 100 Endgames You Must Know by De La Villa. This is my favorite endgame book. I have already read it like 3 or 4 times, and I dare to say that unless you're a super GM, all you need to know about endgame theory is included in this book. But also the content is extremely clear and very easy to understand. A lesson I really enjoyed in this book is this one about king and rook versus king and bishop. And this endgame is a draw when the king can go to the right corner, which is the corner with the opposite color to the bishop. But this time the king is trapped on the wrong corner with the same color as the bishop, and this is going to be winning. So the main idea here is that if you can trap the enemy king on the same corner as his bishop in the endgame king and rook versus king and bishop, then you're going to be winning for sure. The plan to win, well, we need to use the bishop to create a double threat of bishop and mate at the same time, or some kind of skewer with the bishop and the mate behind. So let's see. First we need to force the bishop to go to open field over here, so we can be threatening the two things, the mate and the bishop. So like rook f1 is very well. Even if the bishop tries to stay over there, we can play rook here, and if the bishop tries to stay there behind the king, we can play rook here. At some point the bishop will have to go, as we said, to open field, and then we can use the bishop to create the two threats, or the pin of the bishop and the checkmate threat. For example, after bishop d6 we just play like rook here, threatening the bishop, but if the bishop moves, there could be checkmate over there, and if the bishop goes there, we threaten again the same thing, and at some point we can have the check, and we make a tempo. This time it's not a stalemate because the king is in the wrong corner, so after king here we can just capture the bishop. Also, when we play rook d2, if the bishop instead of going over here goes over here, this is a tricky line. This time we don't play rook here because the king can go there, and then the king is escaping away from the bad corner. So this time we just play something like rook c2, wanting to go to the back rank. This time the king is not escaping over e7 because the bishop is blocking, so we can do this idea, and this is just winning. If they make a tempo or something, we check, and then they are in Suxuan when we make a tempo, so we win anyway. If you guys have any question, let me know in the comments. Check out this video over here. I'm sure you will enjoy it. Thank you, like, subscribe, see you on the next.